President Trump has accused China of doing little to help resolve the North Korean issue. In your view, how justified is this rebuke?
You got to look at it from the U.S. perspective. From the U.S. perspective side, an argument can be made for that, and I would say Trump does have an argument there. You would like to see China maybe take a tougher stand against North Korea. They've been starting to act a little bit more belligerent lately with their nuclear testing and all the things they've been doing. So the problem is you want to avoid a real war. So basically what Trump is just getting at is China, try to do something more. We don't want a war. He's just asking China to do more.
And why do you think President Trump could have chosen this particular timing of all?
Well, sure. I mean, obviously, it's a little bit tricky time because the Chinese are actually, they've written some positive articles as well as myself about Rex Tillerson's upcoming visit to Beijing. But then when you sort of think about it, Tillerson is making an Asia visit, not China visit. So he visited Japan. He visited South Korea. So maybe it's more of just, let's start negotiating. Let's try to take a tougher stand. And it's just sort of, just a way for Trump to show that, he's tired of the games. He wants to get the ball rolling, trying to put more emphasis on getting North Korea to calm down, stop being so belligerent. I've lived in South Korea for 6 years. I mean, I've seen this all the time before. But the only difference is now we have actual U.S. president who is going to really be barking back when they're barking at us. And I am an American citizen as well. So when I say us, I'm talking about all U.S. citizens.
Some experts say that China is in a way using North Korea to achieve its own goals in the region. If so, how does Beijing benefit from Pyongyang's behavior?
Well, it's sort of like, if you really think about it on a long-term strategic level, and then you also think about, say, from Beijing's perspective or China's perspective, I kind of see what they're really doing. Because what you have is, if, say, things get kind of out of control on, say, the South China Sea, on other major diplomatic issues where Beijing has to confront it directly, sometimes it's just nice to have, say, a bad guy around who's distracting you, who's distracting others. So I've also noticed that a lot of times when there's a lot of heat on Beijing, that tends to be the time when North Korea starts acting a little bit more belligerent than normal.
President Trump's statement also comes ahead of Rex Tillerson's visit to Beijing. What impact could it have on the meeting between the two sides?
Well, what's interesting is about a week ago, I did write a commentary about Rex Tillerson's visit for the Chinese media. And there was a paragraph where I described what I call bluster diplomacy. What bluster diplomacy is both sides are barking at each other, but there is a basic understanding that both sides are not going to have a war. And the reason you need to have this kind of bluster and fighting is for rival countries to sort of show off and say, hey, look, I'm standing up for my citizens. I'm talking tough against these other guys. Look, I'm China. I'm speaking up for the Chinese. I'm going to fight the U.S. and talking, and then the Americans, will say the same thing. I'm going to fight for my Americans. But there's a basic understanding there's not going to be a war. But you have to show some type of tough guy face. And that also sort of, in a sense, inspires a little bit of patriotism. But if there really was going to be a war, trust me, I wouldn't be in China right now. They would have sent me packing already. So the reality is there is this basic understanding. I suggest people sort of think about this theory that I have, which is called bluster diplomacy, and then just calm down. I mean, every time there's some crisis, everyone thinks there's going to be war soon. And I've been through this for so many years. After a while, you're more shocked if someone ends up dead than if nothing happens.
So it's Groundhog Day in the Far East.
Yes, exactly.
Furthermore, Mr. Tillerson has recently stated that the US strategic patience with North Korea has ended and warned that Washington could even resort to military intervention to resolve the issue. How likely is that, and what could it potentially lead to?
I would say there's no potential. Basically, there's an understanding that this is just talk. Obviously, if anyone's going to do a war, then it would have to be North Korea sending off a bomb into South Korea or into Japan and actually killing people. Okay? Until that happens, this is all talk. This is all bluster diplomacy.